Good morning, good morning, good morning, my Patriot brothers and sisters. How are you doing today? This is Mike Cook, the Patriot, coming to you live from Central Missouri. It's approximately 8 a.m. in the morning on 9/22. And I want to talk to you about the truth of the matter, because we're not getting the truth of the matter if you watch the news. It's just kind of mangled in the mud. And what matter am I referring to? I'm referring to the Supreme Court Justice of the United States of America. There's a vacancy because Ruth Bader Ginsburg has passed away. And I did a commentary on that the other day. I'm not going to go any further on that. Check my Facebook page if you want to see the commentary I made on that. Now, I just want to talk about the truth. There's a whole bunch of stuff being thrown out there. AOC was out yesterday bashing the president because she's going against the wishes of a dying woman who didn't want her replacement for her seat to come from this president, but the next president. I'm sorry, AOC. It's not her seat. It's ours. It's our Supreme Court. We are a representative republic. You work for us. We don't work for you. Remember that. I think you've forgotten. But I digress. Nancy Pelosi's out and about saying the only reason the Republicans want to do such an evil thing as appointing a Supreme Court justice for this vacancy before the election and not allowing the next president to do it is because they want to end the Affordable Care Act. They want to take away clean water and clean air. She actually said that because, Republicans don't drink water or breathe air. I just want to get to the truth of the matter. So we're going to get there. You see, Nancy Pelosi's not concerned about the Affordable Care Act because that thing doesn't work. They do want nationalized health care, though, so they can control it and make money off of it. But I digress again. No, what she's very, very concerned about, though, is Roe versus Wade. You see, because in the religion of secular humanism, the sacrament is the abortion. And they're afraid that if another Supreme Court justice gets put on, see, right now, it's a 4-4 tie with Justice Roberts as usually the deciding one. And in the very near future, there may be some stuff coming about Justice Roberts. I'm just saying, it's just a guess on my part that maybe that guy is on the take. But I digress again. Boy, I'm chasing these rabbits on this issue. I want to get to the truth of the matter. I want you to understand how a Supreme Court justice is picked. And it is very simple. They're complicating it. They're saying precedent. They're saying this has never been done in the history of the world, but it has many, many times. In fact, President Barack Obama picked a Supreme Court justice, picked that Supreme Court justice just before the last election. The difference is his party did not control the Senate. And they stalled and they waited to give their candidate a chance when he got elected. Now, if Hillary Clinton had got elected president, wouldn't have mattered. So, in the words of the former president of the United States of Obama, Barack Hussein Obama, elections have consequences. We won, you didn't. That's how they got Obamacare passed through in the dead of night. It really is that and John McCain, but that's a whole different issue. I digress again. I've got a lot of rabbits to chase on this one. So I want to get to the heart of the matter, the meat of it. So here it is right here, and I'm going to try not to leave this up like I did in the last video. But the highlighted part says, and this is Article 2, Section 2, Clause 2 of the United States Constitution, and he shall nominate and by and with the advice and consent of the Senate shall appoint ambassadors, public ministers, counsels, judges of the Supreme Court, and all other officers of the United States whose appointments are not herein otherwise provided for. Now, what does that mean? That means that he, being the president of the United States, gets to pick whomever he wants to pick. Whomever. The pick doesn't have to be an attorney, doesn't have to have been to law school, doesn't have to have been a judge. The pick can be anybody. It could be a ditch dicker from Idaho. It doesn't matter. There's no qualifications for that particular job. You don't have to have an education. Don't have to have studied law. The president gets to pick whomever he chooses under the advice and consent of the Congress, which basically means they get an up or down, yes or no. The Congress, or not Congress, check that. I was wrong. The Senate. The House has zero say-so in this. The president picks, the Senate confirms or not. Now, the tradition in the Senate has been to have hearings. Not constitutionally mandated. The decision gets to make, the Senate gets to make their own rules as they go along, if they choose. You see, for longest time, the Senate had set a standard of 2/3 majority. Okay? And that allowed for the filibuster. And for the longest time in the Senate, it was tradition that the filibuster could prevent a nominee. It would allow the opposing party an opportunity. But the Senate changed that rule. Actually, the Democrats in the Senate changed that rule when Harry Reid did it, so that they could slam through Obamacare because the Republicans were filibustering it. It was called the nuclear option. You remember them talking about that? The nuclear option. We're going to do the Republicans, when they're in charge, they better not do the nuclear option. But the Democrats, well, anything it takes to move us along in our progressive socialist Marxist march. Well, now they no longer control the Senate. They thought they could control the Senate indefinitely, but they don't. And it's costing them because they changed the rules. The Republicans are, all right, we're going to use the rules you put in place. No filibuster. All it takes is a regular majority. 51 senators. But there's another monkey wrench in this thing. A couple Republicans who are actually Democrats. They run in strong Democrat districts, but they run as Republicans, so no one runs against them. It's kind of a scam. But they said that they're not going to vote for the nomination because they feel like the next president should have the opportunity. So that might put this in a little bit of a bind because there's not that much of a majority for Republicans. However, the Republicans will come to them and say, if you want to be the chairwoman of this, that, or the other thing, we want you to vote present. Why? Because present doesn't get counted as a majority, therefore 48. If those two women vote present, it would take 48 to pass. It lowers the bar. And they can go on record with all their little socialist, communist friends up in the Northeast where they're from to say, we didn't vote for it. It's a political game they play. Politics is all a political game they play, and it's a bunch of crap. But it is what it is. They're upset because, as I said earlier, this will tip the Supreme Court for the next 30 years or so much more conservative, depending on the judge that Trump picks. Fox was talking about 3 ladies, all of them very conservative. One that in particular is a very staunch Catholic and an anti-abortion vote. That will give 5 votes, whether or not Justice Roberts sells us out again. If the abortion issue was to arise again. The only thing making the abortion illegal across the land, whether you're for or against it, I'm just stating facts. The only thing, this is truth, that makes it legal is a Supreme Court ruling governing by government fiat. There is no law passed, no constitutional amendment. Congress has not voted on it. The Senate has not voted on it. The president has not signed a law. It was a ruling by the Supreme Court. So therefore, a future Supreme Court can unrule it by making a new ruling. You see, the only way to make something permanent in our system is a constitutional amendment. You would have to have a constitutional amendment for or against abortion to make it permanent. And even that could be overturned. It's just a lot higher bar to meet. One of the lowest bars to meet is Supreme Court decision. Right underneath that is an executive order by the president. If you have control of the courts, mind you, President Trump has appointed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lower court judges. President Trump has flipped the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeal. Circus, I did say that on purpose because that's been their nickname. The most liberal court in the land has had so many judges put on it that they've come out for gun rights. They've come out for voting rights. They've come out for strong constitutional standings in the last year or so because the previous president didn't do his job and fill those seats, allowed President Trump to do it, and they've been doing it. This country has been moving progressively towards socialism, communism, and Marxism through the courts for 50 years. It's going to end in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. And that's what Nancy Pelosi is afraid of. That's what AOC is afraid of. We'll have Supreme Court justices that judge based upon constitutionality and not upon whatever whim of society is today. Understand, we are on the verge, a precipice of losing our great country. And there's a fight coming. Y'all are on here. You know it. You feel it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You feel it down in here. There's a fight coming. We can surrender and assure peace, but at what cost? I choose to stand and fight, wherever that takes me. When the fight comes to my door, I will fight. It might be a 10-second fight before it's over. But I'd rather die a free man than live a life of servitude to some bureaucrat that tells me I have to wear a mask. Why? I don't know. But you can take it off when you're sitting down eating. And to the person out there that may be watching this and you read the headline, you probably thought this video was about you, didn't you? Didn't you? Hey, if you like my videos, please share them. Let people know. Spread me around. It's the only way I can spread around is if you share them because Facebook don't like me. You guys have a wonderful day. Enjoy the weather. I love this time of year, and I will catch you later.